Welcome to the Cara Michelle Show, where we break out of the matrix together and return heaven to earth. This is a place for the spiritual seekers and leaders, the dreamers and doers, the conscious creators and world changers. You can expect a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but mostly a whole lot of purpose, freedom, and sovereignty. And of course, all things quantum. May this podcast serve you in remembering the truth of who you are, all that you came here to do, and how deeply supported you are in doing it. You are incredibly powerful and your mission is protected. So it's time to dial up your frequency and recalibrate to your higher self and limitless potential. Get ready, because we're about to blast off. A new reality awaits you on the other side. I'll see you there. I am about to talk about something that needs to be discussed way more than it currently is, and that is healing past life wounds in order to attract the things that you desire. And using past life regression, specifically a quantum healing hypnosis practice that I do and that I have taught many of my clients and taken them through to uncover where you have trauma or an energetic blueprint or where there is a timestamp in a past life that is still connected and playing out in the present moment. So we are going to be talking about this specifically in regards to money. I'm going to be sharing how one single past life regression using this tool, using this practice, helped me double my income and go from 10K months to my first 20K month. And more than just the money, this is about understanding where past trauma can still be stored in your subconscious and how to clear it in a really fast way. Because one thing I see all the time is people staying trapped in their current reality, thinking that this is all that there is or this is what is normal, and they continue on that loop. And you're going to hear me talk about it a lot in terms of breaking out of the matrix, breaking out of those patterns. And it is about breaking out of that current level of the game. So if you are trapped in a loop and you keep repeating the same pattern, in this instance, staying in a certain income, or in other instances, it could be staying in a similar relationship pattern. And this loop keeps repeating no matter where you are or who you're around. At the beginning of my healing journey, it didn't even matter if I traveled all the way around the world, the pattern still followed me. And some of these patterns were from childhood and upbringing in this current lifetime. But as I dove into the hypnosis work and started to tap into the subconscious and get information that transcended this lifetime, I was able to see that actually a lot of these things stemmed from past lives as well. And this is what is so crazy. This is what is so cool, because sometimes it does go beyond this current reality. So if you feel like you've been trying all the things and you're like, I'm reading the books, I'm doing the different practices, I feel like I'm very self-aware, and yet I can't understand where this is coming from. I hope that this share and this story is going to not only illuminate what might be going on and be super intriguing and interesting, but also super powerful for you in understanding how you can then continue to take your power back and write a new story, no matter what your reality looks like right now. So let's get into this. This was a couple years ago. I had just left. This particular experience was a couple years ago. I had just left Los Angeles and I was in Scotland, and I was in the midst of some really deep healing at the time. And particularly, as I said, this example is related to money. And so I was doing a couple different quantum healing hypnosis practices, which it's a very wordy title. I'll get back to you when I've simplified it. But like, it's not really hypnosis because you're still aware and you're still in control, which is what I love. But it is a very deep state where you're tapping into your subconscious. So your conscious mind kind of takes the back seat. The overthinking, the logic silences, it calms down, it relaxes, and you are able to then tap into what's beneath that and what's under below the surface. So I had been stuck in these certain patterns with money. I had manifested my first 10K month, which was beautiful. I shared about that in a recent episode. You can go learn the exact things I did with identity shifting to manifest that if you want. But in this example, I was trying to figure out why I had these certain money patterns, and I could identify a lot from both of my parents, and particularly with my dad in regards to business. And growing up as a little girl, I was never aware of the amount of money that went into the business or the loans or debt or anything like that. But I definitely had these distorted beliefs around the amount of money that you had to put in order to get a return, in order to finally start making it into the positives. So I kind of entered my coaching and healing business with the belief that I was going to have to dig the hole deep first before receiving and skyrocketing to where I wanted to be. And I wanted to shift this. I also wanted to shift the beliefs around having to hustle and work really hard and put in so many hours to just get by. And I also wanted to release unworthiness and shame. And the shame around money, I believe, came more from my mom's side. There was a lot more lack and poverty in her lineage, and like my grandma, my great grandma, that side of the family. And so there always was this kind of holding on to money and, yeah, a scarcity that it wouldn't exist. So that made me feel shame around wanting more, around desiring and aiming for more, around not just settling and being satisfied with what I had. And I was doing all this work in my conscious reality, positive affirmations, all these different things to rewire and change that. But I knew there was something beneath the surface. So as I started doing the quantum healing money work, and I was walking through, it's a beautiful practice one of my mentors taught, about looking at your money house and going into basically what your money story is, but seeing it symbolic as a house. So when I first saw it, it was this like disheveled, crumbling house, which kind of was representative of the amount of debt that I was in, the heaviness that money had for me at that time, the current beliefs that like money didn't actually love me and wasn't supporting me nearly enough to help me. So I kind of saw it as like a struggle city with money. And as I started to go through this, though, I personally took a different turn than the mentor had taught because that particular money house practice goes differently. And I will talk about that in future episodes as well because it's so powerful. And I also include it in some of my quantum healing hypnosis courses. But what came through for me, and this was actually a really deep initiation into more of my intuitive gifts and my ability to tap into these other realms and past lives, was that I was suddenly shown multiple lifetimes all at once. And so simultaneously, I got to see lifetimes where I was incredibly wealthy and affluent and actually a queen and ruling and just had all the beautiful things, and a lifetime where I had absolutely nothing and I was an orphaned girl living alone on the street and, barely in these rags, just covered in dirt and had nothing to get by. I also saw a lifetime in the middle, which like totally made me laugh because I fucking hate numbers, and that's probably part of my problem with money is like you can't hate it and expect to be good with it. But I had a lifetime where I was an accountant and I saw this life, and this also makes sense why, for a while growing up, I just associated accounting with being so boring and so dull. And I was like, who wants to spend any time budgeting and looking at their numbers and putting it on a paper or a spreadsheet? Like, that's so dull. And it's because in this past life, I saw myself there. I was a gentleman and I was behind the desk with my suit on and my white shirt or whatever. And I was like crunching numbers. It wasn't a computer, it was way before that, but like basically what would be a modern day accountant. And I was doing that with my little machine thingy and just sitting there behind the desk. And it was like, truly, the biggest thing I could say was like it was so boring in that life. But what was beautiful about seeing it in this regression was that I got the confidence of, whoa, actually, in another lifetime, I was really good with numbers. So that allowed me to start to dispel certain myths in this current reality because I've had this story my whole life that I'm bad with numbers because in junior high and high school, I started to struggle with math. I had the worst teachers ever. My grade 10 math teacher just sang. She sang, what was it called? Charlotte's Web in our math class. And I remember just sitting there being like, what the fuck am I doing here? Why I could be anywhere else but here. This is such a waste of time, and you're not even helping me learn math. So I just resented math, and then my next year teacher and grade 12 teacher, it just got progressively worse. And I stopped trying, I stopped putting in any effort. I remember realizing like I can graduate even if I don't get a great grade in this class. And I remember in grade 12, my brother was so upset because he's like, why did I try so hard? And Kara realized that she could just coast and still graduate. And like it was this kind of joke we had because I just totally mentally shut down towards math and numbers. So then when I started my business, I had all these stories about I'm bad with money, I'm bad with numbers because of the years in math, because of the struggles that I had gone through, and also childhood stories of being told I was bad with money because I liked to spend it and I liked to circulate it. So, seeing this past lifetime, what was so powerful and so profound is that literally in 30 seconds, although the lifetime of the accountant cracked me up and made me laugh, it also gave me the momentary shift of realizing, Kara, you actually have been incredibly good with money and numbers in other lifetimes. So, what if you could channel that and translate that knowledge, that gift, bring that back into the present moment? So, it's still stored in your subconscious. All of these experiences from our past lives, whether we want to look at it as an energetic imprint in your aura, in your soul, in your energy body, the essence of who you are energetically, it carries all these things from past lifetimes as well as multi dimensions. So if we tap in, if we remember a certain gift that we had as an accountant, or you remember the lifetime of the queen, which I'll get into in a second, or you remember the connection to your higher self and those higher dimensions, you're instantaneously shifting from seeing yourself as someone who is small and limited and confined to your current present 3D reality, and you're tapping into a gift, like potentially an ancient gift or a multi-dimensional gift that you can access. And it's literally like bringing that code online into right here, right now. So that's what I was able to do in this moment with the accountant. And then with the queen and the orphan girl, it gave me the chance to shift other money blocks that were holding me back. So I saw myself in a past life as a queen, and I saw myself doing beautiful things with money, which helped me to dispel the belief that money was bad and that it was greedy for me to want more. Because I saw how in this lifetime I actually had an abundance, I had overflow, I had more than I personally needed. But because I was still living in my heart, I was doing amazing things with the money and with the resources. So I was able to give back and help the people in my city so much more than if I had been poor, right? So it's that perspective shift that oftentimes, because of the programming on our current planet nowadays, we have a lot of limiting beliefs that money is bad and it's greedy to want more. But the truth is, money is just energy, and money just amplifies the hands that it's in. So if you are a good, kind hearted person, you will do good, kind hearted things with more money. You will be able to spread that and help so many more. If you are someone who is stuck in their ego and chasing things and wants money to make you into somebody, and you want it for selfish reasons, then yes, more money will just be amplified in your hands, and you will do more greedy things with your money. But money itself is not bad or good. Money itself is neutral. So by seeing this past life as the queen, I got to immediately change the narrative and print into my body the fact that it was safe to have more. The fact that it wasn't something to feel guilt or shame about, that I shouldn't feel bad, that I shouldn't judge myself for wanting more when I already have so much. And, that there are people with less than me. It's like, making myself poorer isn't going to help people who are poor. Making myself smaller isn't going to help someone who's currently struggling and feeling small. Whereas if I can stand in my bigness, if I can take up space, if I can be in my power, if I can manifest the abundance that I know is my birthright, and I can have overflow, I can actually support more people, not only by being this pillar and embodying this reality and showing them it's possible and sharing the tools or the guidance like I'm doing right now of like, hey, we can shift this and here's how. I can embody and lead, but I can also then use my riches in this example, or use my confidence or knowledge or whatever it is to help other people and bring them forward with me. So a kind-hearted person will always do good with the resources that they have, whether those resources are physical, material wealth, or knowledge and wisdom, or a loving, overflowing, expansive energy that is felt and uplifts people. So the perspective shift allows you to realize that there's nothing wrong with wanting more, and there's no reason for guilt or shame to exist. On top of that, by seeing the contrast of the life where I was the orphan girl, it was so emotional. It was so powerful and really helped me understand a lot of the scarcity, a lot of the fear around lack, around being unsupported. A lot of my money trauma had to do with feeling abandoned by money because it didn't show up maybe in the ways that I wanted or as quickly as I wanted sometimes. And I saw a lot of my abandonment wounds with men also translate to money. So there was like this abandoned girl. So there was this similarity as I saw this past lifetime where actually, as the little girl, I had been abandoned by money. I had experienced the lowest of lows, and I had also experienced the highest of highs as the queen with so much. And as I saw all these, keep in mind, because keep in mind, I saw like all three of these basically at once. It was like the timelines just like movies in front of me, boom, 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 and seeing it all play out. And I got the download or the communication from my higher self that I got to experience the contrast for that exact reason. As I mentioned with the queen, of realizing that resources in the right hands are beautiful and are an amazing thing. But I also lived that lifetime as the orphan girl because my soul wanted to experience all of it and wanted to see that other extreme of actually having nothing. And it was because of the lifetime of the orphan girl that then, when I had the lifetime of the queen, I wanted to give and I wanted to make sure no one was struggling the way that I had. Unconsciously, I was unaware of it, obviously, or at least from my current stance. The queen did not remember being the orphan girl, but that lifetime was like printed in my soul and is part of what wanted me as the queen. It caused me to want to give back and make sure no one else was struggling that way, and make sure resources did get circulated in a good way instead of just becoming greedy and keeping them all to myself. So, the miracle that happened after this, not only was I able to move so much energy, a lot of emotions, obviously, seeing both of these and just realizing like how many blocks had been showing up in my current reality because of these different money traumas and experiences. Not only was that emotional, but it was so empowering to realize now that I see these things, I can take the lessons, I can extract the gifts and the wisdom, and I can heal and shift and transmute the traumas. I can transmute the negatives or the pains or the limiting beliefs that I've been holding. And I can basically rewire my whole internal structure to no longer see money as a negative, to no longer feel the guilt or shame or any of the other things that were causing me to block it in my physical reality and causing me to make it way more complicated than it needed to be. So after that experience, it probably was like 30 minutes long total, maybe a little bit longer because your girl gets lost there sometimes. Like 4 hours later. No, I'm just kidding. It was definitely only like, it was less than an hour, and all these things came through. And then after that, within the next couple weeks, I started to make these huge changes in my business. No immediate quantum leap in terms of like the money wasn't there tomorrow. That would be nice. Sometimes it happens that way, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, it was the changes in the foundation that allowed me to open up to more abundance. And probably a month after that experience, I was really anchoring in more of like that queen abundance and like the queen codes, and thinking about all the good I could do with more money and the ways that I would circulate it, invest it, build things, be able to support more people, all of the positive ripple effects that would come from it. And I made an investment that the lack and scarcity Kara would not have done, but the abundant Kara, knowing that, this gets to be her truth moving forward, I took action from her and invested in a new mentor, started doing new things in my business, running new systems, and I had my first 20K month in actually quite a very easy and seamless way. And that is how a single past life regression and uncovering these different lifetimes allowed me to show up with more integrity towards money, show up with different beliefs and a new perspective shift around how it worked and what it allowed me to do and what it would mean, not only for myself, but for the world, and ultimately shift the subconscious beliefs, but also the energetic signature, so that I could start to carry myself differently and I could start to feel and normalize the frequency of abundance, normalize the pleasure, the gratitude that came from having more, and allow it to feel good in my nervous system, so that when the money came in, I didn't like panic or send it off or think I was unworthy. So I really want to run home the power of uncovering what is going on unconsciously. Because as I said, most people are so unaware. Most people never look at this. They just loop through the pattern. They never make a change. And yet they're like, why isn't anything happening? Why am I still here? Well, it's all stemming from your energetic signature in regards to money, as well as the subconscious beliefs that you have. And so, whether it is through a different hypnosis practice, whether it is through identity shifting and beginning to just see yourself as the more abundant version of you, or see yourself with a new money story, or whether it's through a practice such as the money house that I started to mention, or the past life regression, where you're tapping into past lifetimes and healing money trauma there. In a quantum world with quantum entanglement, where actually the past, present, and future don't exist. They're all, or I mean, they do exist, but they exist simultaneously. They're not separate. We don't have a linear timeline when you look at quantum particle theory. There is not a past, backwards, and a future forwards. It's like everything exists right here, right now, and it's all accessible. That's why the second you heal something in the present moment, you're also helping heal past timelines. You're also helping heal and adjust future timelines. It's all happening at once, simultaneously. So, doing this work on your subconscious, shifting these things and opening up to new realities, new beliefs, new energetic structure in your body, and the somatic feeling, the somatic sensations in your body, it all allows you to welcome this stuff in. So if you haven't done it yet, and if you've been like stuck, as I said, I would look here, my friend. I would start looking at this kind of stuff, the underlying work that needs to be done. Because in one simple shift, you could change so much for yourself. You could see yourself and your relationship to money in a totally new way. And I do have a link in the description below for a free money hypnosis. This is so powerful. It absolutely changed everything. It's a download that came in, a couple months actually after this 20K month. I'll share about it another time. But it's an amazing place to start if you're wanting to rewire your energetic blueprint towards money and heal all the childhood, teenage years, adult years, all the money traumas and timelines that aren't serving you, beliefs that aren't serving you, and really start to anchor in a new wealth blueprint. So the link is below. This is also something I teach inside my quantum healing bundle called Overflow, all about different hypnosis recordings and training specifically towards money, your energetic minimum and maximum, creating the new identity, stepping into it, releasing money trauma, all the things. So that is on the other link in there about quantum healing hypnosis. And yeah, just don't sleep on this stuff. Like, this is literally the most powerful work you can do. And the beautiful thing is that you get to do it in a really relaxed state, because you're just in a meditation kind of state, chilling, relaxing, letting the hypnosis, letting the guide, aka me, letting me guide you through and uncover these things and heal them in real time, so that within those 30 minutes, sometimes, you leave that session feeling totally different, seeing your reality in a whole new way, and being open to completely new stories with money. So you can check out all those different links down below. I hope this was helpful. And yeah, the more you can take your power back, really start channeling the gifts, as I said, the gifts from these other lifetimes, as well as learning the lesson so you don't repeat the pattern anymore. You're not stuck in that loop anymore. Oh, it feels so nice. So nice. It's like the best thing you can do. So I encourage you to try it out. And I hope this was so helpful for you. And I'm really excited to dive into more on the next episode. So I'm sending love, and I will talk to you again soon.